Hey guys, welcome back to ProgramHub, and today in this episode we're going to talk about Web3 and is it really going to kill all the jobs and all the requirements for being a web developer. So if you're a web developer, how is it going to affect you and your career in the further coming up time? So we'll be talking about that. So guys, firstly, if you don't know about what Web3 is and if you want to have some knowledge about it, so just some prior information can be grabbed from the video that I published before this. So if you want to have a look at that video, the link is in the top right corner. You can click there and have a look at that video. Now let's get into the talk. So guys, Web3 is a really new term that you might be thinking of because it is hyped into the past few months, just starting from October onwards. But this is not a new term. This is something that has already been coined in 2014. And we have even seen a trend for that in 2014 Web 3.0. So this is not a new thing. So this is all just about decentralized systems where we can build systems that are decentralized apart from what we currently have in Web 2 is that we have a centralized system where a few companies are actually holding in the data of all the users. For example, our data is being held by Google, Facebook, Amazon. So these are the big giant companies and the server stores where our data is being stored, and they are controlled by a small fraction of people or companies. So we don't have access to our data, and the answer to that is how we can get access to our data, how we can have a better access and permission level to our own data is Web3. That is a decentralized application system that is also called as dApps. And this is something that is an answer to a better way of storing data. And decentralized systems or Web3 uses peer-to-peer connection, something that you might have already used using torrents. If you're a user on torrent, you might be knowing about peer-to-peer connection. So we have a interconnection of many computers, many systems in our neighborhood, and we just connect through them. And we have, if we need any data, so we can just easily try to get that from the other next computer that we have in our connection, and that is far more easier. And also in this system, none of the systems, like there's no such great server or there's no centralized system that actually stores all the data. So the copy of the data is distributed on all the machines. So all the machines have their own copy of data, and you have a right access, like you have the most better access towards your own data. And this is something Web3. Now, how does it actually affects the development process? Like using Web3, there can be a number of technologies that can be actually deployed. And right now we even have, as we are onto the start of we are onto the start of the Web3, so we can see there are a number of services or tools that are being made that makes the entire process of making websites, making these web applications really easy. So we can make websites like e-commerce really in a very easier way. What we used to actually code and we used to write everything, but nowadays making e-commerce websites is really simple. But this does not mean that the job role of a web developer is going to be killed in, because the job of a web developer is always going to be important, because into the further moment of time, into the further time also as well, web developers will be required, at least for developing Web3 applications. So see, knowledge has to be upgraded there's a certain point that where we actually need to upgrade our knowledge. But yes, there's something that I can really say that still, if we have Web3, that doesn't mean every system is gonna use the the decentralized version of servers or applications. So not every application is gonna be a decentralized application. So that is something that I truly agree on one thing, because there would be some organizations like government organizations who won't agree on this one thing. They won't actually agree to share the data with every single user, so as everyone can have a copy of that data. So still in the time when we will have decentralized applications, but we will still have applications that will be centralized by these organizations. And by these organizations, I also try to mean that they don't need a system or they don't need an application that is pre-built. You can just get out of the package and try to use that. So these organizations, these giant organizations, they need a completely customized set of applications or softwares. So that can actually be provided by web developers. So there comes the role of web developers. So if you're thinking that web3 will actually kill the role of web development, it will actually just make all the web developers go completely empty handed and have no job in their account. So that's not true. Web developers will be required. There's nothing that can actually replace the entire role of a web developer, and that is gonna be sustaining even after 10 or 15 years of time. That is something that I can really see over here. So because past into the time when we had the evolution of these content management systems or these websites, these tools and services that can actually make in website really easily, we thought that, like, I particularly thought that it's gonna be very easy to, like, in the near future it would be very easy for making any kind of a website. But even after 10 years, what I can see is that we do have a role needed for web developers. So web developers are needed for building those customized systems. So not every system that is required comes out of a box or out of a package. So sometimes it's actually needed to be made. So that's the reason why I consider that web development jobs won't be dying very soon. So they'll actually sustain for long period of time. So if you're a web developer, don't worry about it. There might be a need for change in some knowledge, so that is something that you can grab. But even if you stay around with your mastery or the tools that you have mastered in, so you can still stay active and you can be a web developer. So there's nothing to worry around on that. But guys, we do love to hear your thoughts too and your opinions too. So I'll be asking for your opinions on this. So please leave that down into the comment section below. We'll be happy to read that. And if you liked our video, please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel. Meet you in the next episode. Till then, goodbye.